Well, good morning. I am Jerry Anderson, and I want to thank you for your time today and for your support of the Detroit Regional Partnership over the past year. I also want to start by thanking our regional leaders that led the 3 breakout sessions at the top of the program today. They all did a really outstanding job of sharing with you their expertise and perspectives. So Gary Torgo, Executive Chairman of TCF Financial Corporation, talked about what we could expect in the year ahead in the finance and banking world. And as you know, Gary recently led the merger of TCF with Huntington Bank. Wright Lassiter, President and CEO of Henry Ford Health Systems, gave us a deep dive into something that we've all been living with and paying attention to over the past year, and that is the healthcare landscape in the midst of the pandemic. And Lejeune Montgomery Tabron, President and CEO of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, provided great insight into the role of philanthropy as the world has elevated the conversation on public health, economic, and racial equity. They all did a great job with their breakout sessions. And that said, I know you were only able to select one of those 3 sessions. And so Maureen and the team at the Detroit Regional Partnership will send you all 3 of the sessions along with the highlights of this annual meeting. And you can watch the other 2 sessions on your own time if you desire to do that. Again, thank you to Gary and Wright and Lejeune. We really appreciate your time and your insights. So we're still navigating what we hope are the final months of COVID. But the momentum built last year is real, despite all of the challenges that 2020 presented. Today's meeting focuses on how we have pressed forward through it all and what that means for us in 2021. Southeast Michigan for years has lacked the well-funded economic development push that you see in best-in-class metro areas. Many of you and other leaders across our region knew that we had the assets and the talent to compete for and attract more business and to increase the region's prosperity. However, we lacked the regional organization needed to drive the type of business attraction that a region like ours deserved. For too long, our region got what it paid for in business attraction. Not enough. Our competitors got what they paid for. Projects that we could have landed. That doesn't mean there weren't wins. There were. But they weren't as frequent as they should have been. They were usually led at the local level. And at times, they pitted our region's cities or counties against each other. From the beginning, the DRP's goal was to be singularly focused on attracting and creating jobs by marketing this region and sharing our collective story to the world. And we had 2020 circled on the calendar as the year that the DRP would begin operating at full strength for the first time. By late 2019, the Detroit Regional Partnership had defined its strategy, raised initial funding, assembled the right team, and defined the goals that we wanted to achieve in 2020 and by 2030. We identified the industry clusters and the sectors that were important for our region to pursue. We developed our key marketing messages to ensure that we were delivering our regional story in the right way. And we placed heavy emphasis on pathway jobs. That is, a focus on jobs for all that could strengthen equity in our region and help to rebuild a thriving middle class here. Entering 2020, the goal was to mobilize our business development and attraction activities and to take our story out to key domestic and international markets. And then 60 days into this push, the global pandemic hit, bringing economic and daily life to a near standstill. Now, that could have really slowed down our efforts. And I think it's a testament to our new organization that that did not happen. Like other organizations across the world, the DRP transitioned to work from home. We reinvented our daily work. We found virtual platforms to make that possible, and we kept moving forward. And in the midst of that transition, we also transitioned to a new CEO. So Maureen Donahue-Krause returned home from Indianapolis. She's someone who knows the economic development business, who knows our communities and their key players, and perhaps most importantly, who knows the assets of our region and how they fit together into a world-class value proposition. I'm not sure mid-pandemic is a great time to start a new job, but Maureen hit the ground running last year. And as she will tell you, economic development is a relationship business that usually relies on person-to-person interaction. The pandemic eliminated the primary avenue through which our mission is normally executed. So the team took the trade missions and delegation visits virtual. They sought out better online platforms to tell our stories and to market our regional assets. And in retrospect, the Detroit Regional Partnership didn't miss a beat last year. When we started the DRP, I said, if it doesn't create jobs, we're not doing it. You saw the impact video. That's what we did in 2020. The Detroit Regional Partnership helped to close 26 deals that created over 2,000 direct jobs and an estimated 6,000 total jobs. And we know there could have been more, but for the pandemic. The roughly 50-50 split between international and domestic companies reflects our strong regional presence, both across the US and around the world. Investors are interested in coming here. We just need to tell our story and continue to remove barriers. The top 3 industries represented in the DRP's 2020 deals: automotive and mobility, smart manufacturing and logistics, are high-skilled businesses that we have the right mix of experience, brainpower, and talent to attract. Advances in other industries, from digital technology to cybersecurity to artificial intelligence and robotics, are all intertwined with these 3 primary industries, and that bodes really well for our future. If you want to be a player in next generation mobility, you need to be at the Industry Brain Center. If you want to position yourself to access one of the world's most sophisticated supply chains, you need to be here. If you want to capitalize on this region's unique concentration of engineering talent, on its long history of making things, you should bring your smart manufacturing operations here. We have similar great stories to tell about all 7 of our strategic clusters. Now, the DRP had quite an economic impact in 2020, leading to or supporting more than 6,000 jobs, which increased our regional payroll by $500 million and led to $1.4 billion in investment and construction spending. Why? Because we're working hard to tell the region's story. And we're working hard to act as a single point of contact that makes it easier for others to invest here. There's a reason our business development team didn't see any drop in interest and had so many leads in the crazy year of 2020. Our region has great assets, and the DRP is doing a really good job of helping to tell that story. Now, given the economic impact of the pandemic, there has arguably never been a more important time for the Detroit Regional Partnership's work. and for the widespread regional collaboration that it calls for. The regions that come together, marshal their talent and assets, and work together are going to be the winners in this post-COVID era. We are committed to grow and thrive in the wake of 2020. And there are two ways that you can help the Detroit Regional Partnership to move forward. First, we need you to stay involved in and tout our efforts in your circles of influence. Engage business and community leaders that aren't aware or aren't involved. The potential of this region is really strong, but we need everybody doing their part to capitalize on that potential. And second, continue to personally champion this region's story and its assets in your travels to other regions and other markets. You know, it really matters to have personal ambassadors out there with as many touch points as possible. Other strong regions make that a habit. They have thousands out there marketing the region, and it really makes a difference. So play that role for our region. And if we work together, we can make the decade of the 2020s a really prosperous one, despite the fact that it has started off with a historically tumultuous year. Thank you for your support and your help in getting the DRP off to a great start in 2020. And we look forward to building on that strong start in 2021 and the decade ahead. You know, one of the keys to the DRP's success to date has been the support and unity of elected officials across the region. And we're going to turn now to reflections from some of those leaders.
The greatest asset the region has is, without question, the people, the talent that we have, the talent pool of people that are from various diverse backgrounds, educational levels. There isn't anything that they can't come up with, idea, creativity, to try to figure out how do they solve problems and how do they make things happen. So we got an incredible workforce here in Southeast Michigan.
You know, we have a ready-to-work population, and on the south side of that, we have a population of people that it won't take an awful lot to get them ready to work. And so the combination of the two and the dedication to put the time and energy in to make that happen, I think makes this a really, really strong region.
People in the Detroit area want to work. They're ready to learn new skills and work hard, and it was a huge part of why Fiat Chrysler, now Stellantis, put their first assembly plant in a decade north of the Mason-Dixon line. And I think we have a workforce here ready to go to work.
The people here are unlike, I think, any that I've ever encountered anywhere else. There's a grit and a determination to Michiganians, and especially Detroiters, Metro Detroiters. We are resilient people, we're tough people, we have a strange sense of humor because we've been through a lot, and we like to have a good time. And if you think that describes you, I think you'd fit in to Metro Detroit pretty darn well.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Maureen Donahue-Krause, President and CEO of the Detroit Regional Partnership, and I could not be more excited to be here with you today. Well, I guess maybe it would be better if we were all in person, but this is what we have, and we're so excited to share with you in more detail some of our successes from the past year, as well as what our plans are for 2021. I want to remind all of you that the chat room is open, and at the end, Jerry will come back for some Q&A. You can ask either of us your questions, so please keep that in mind as we go through the course of our meeting. First, I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to those of us who help to keep us moving forward. Ever Forward is our relentless commitment to promoting this region as a world-class business location. But this work is not possible without the hard work of so many people. First, I have to thank our board chair, Jerry Anderson, as well as DTE's Dave Meter, who is our treasurer. they have given time beyond the 2 years of our existence to really have a vision of what a best-in-class regional economic development organization should look like, and one that the Detroit region deserves. I want to thank, you just saw them for a minute, some of our political leadership. You'll see them again coming up. Mayor Duggan, County Executives Coulter, Evans, and Hackle. It makes a difference when politically we are working together in economic development. Our breakout session leaders, I had the privilege of hosting Gary Torgo, but we also heard from Wright Lassiter and Lejeune Montgomery Tabron. I look forward to seeing the other sessions later, but their leadership, their thought leadership and messaging on their vision of what 2021 looks like is just so important for all of us, and encourage you when we send you the other sessions you couldn't attend to take a look. Our local partners out there in the city and the 11-county region, they're our partners in everything we do to close deals. We could not have success without them. Thank you to them. And finally, heartfelt thanks to the team at the Detroit Regional Partnership. They have worked so hard, like so many others, to change the way they do business, to change the way we deliver the story of the Detroit region. And I think you've seen with the impact video, and you'll see going forward, tremendous success. Thank you to the best team I've ever led. So I've been on the job about 7 months now, coming back from Indy to really my dream job. This feels like the culmination of all of the places I've worked, from Oakland County to the Detroit Regional Chamber, and then on to Indianapolis. You know, while I was in Indy, I led the infamous, I should say, Amazon HQ2 project for the region. It provided me great perspective as one of our direct Midwest competitors on how we should tell our story and what our customer of the future would need from us. And I'm excited to be able to bring back those learnings to continue to be best in class in the Detroit region. I've been privileged in my career to travel around the world on over 60 trade missions, leading the message of what our region has to share with the world. And so once again, very excited to be able to do that in the new structure that we have created. As outlined in our guiding principles, this organization is about working with a singular regional focus so that we can achieve robust job growth and deep prosperity that includes jobs for all in an inclusive economy. This all starts with storytelling. So in the past year, we worked with a consulting firm to listen to the perceptions that executives and influencers had about our 11-county region, about our business climate and investment opportunities, so we could better generate investment inquiries and new leads. We've developed some messaging targeting CEOs and decision makers in our key cluster industries that were brought to us, as Jerry alluded to, by our strategic plan and McKinsey work, as well as to have the appropriate messaging for site selectors, business associations, and the media, not only domestically, but around the world. So I want to share with you what these messages are. We'll be building on these in all of our marketing efforts as we tell our story, and encourage you to do the deep dive and share them as well. The first one is one that we know, but one that we need to continue to talk about: our talent that engineers and builds. We will be promoting the region's 2.6 million person workforce that leads the nation in the concentration of engineers and commercial and industrial designers. But our innovative talent pool isn't only deep, it costs 30% less than cities like San Francisco and New York. Over the past year, we are involved in a multi-month digital campaign with area development with the theme 99,000 Reasons Detroit Can Engineer Anything. It's one that resonates with so many types of companies, and we will continue with this story. Our second message is a North American gateway to global connectivity. So some of you can see Canada's behind me. We kind of take that for granted, but it's really an access point to the North American market that we need to make sure people understand. Our airport, where we can travel and get to anywhere in the world, and the other infrastructure, including an under construction Gordie Howe Bridge that helps us to move products and connect to customers. Our next message is design, top 3 in design. We need to elevate this fact. It's not as well known that we are the third largest design hub in the country, not only behind only New York and LA. We have a maker's mindset and a creative culture that spans an array of industries, not automotive, and it's something that we can build on and inform people that they may not know about us already. Our fourth message revolves around next generation mobility starts here. We always celebrate the world's densest automotive cluster because it has allowed us now to be at the forefront of new industry developments in mobility. Because of that, we are also an emerging software development hub that's attracting the world's largest tech companies. Our next message is our exceptional education ecosystem. Talent is what wins now. And we showcase our University Research Corridor, which remains one of the nation's top academic research clusters. Our wide variety of technical schools and colleges also generate highly educated and specialized innovators. Companies making large investors want to understand what talent we have today, but what our talent pipeline looks like in the future. We don't have that talent pipeline without all of these great institutions. Our final message is one that resonates in so many areas with quality of life. Great lakes, great living, and great option. We tout the fact that we offer all types of living options at affordable prices with no shortage of entertainment, cultural amenities, sports, and outdoor adventures for every lifestyle and taste. As we look at companies who want to attract talent, as we look at keeping and attracting talent, this diversity of lifestyle options and cultural and outdoor amenities is something that gives us an edge over so many of our competitors. Just recently, we did an investor profile in Site Selection magazine where we showcased this quality of life as well as unique talent and location. In summary, our elevator pitch goes like this. Resilient, reimagined, and rising in the face of challenges has been part of the Detroit region story for more than a century. Today, our 11 counties offer vast opportunities to grow while providing a fantastic quality of life. We can engineer, design, and build anything, taking concept to consumer from one world-class location. Our job is to tell that story. So as Jerry alluded to, we had a plan for the year in 2020, and then very quickly we had to reinvent our business attraction in a matter of weeks. So let's talk about how we changed our approach in the spring when the pandemic hit, because this is going to impact the direction we will go in 2021. We haven't done anything without deliberately thinking about how can we repurpose this going ahead. So we completed about a half a dozen trade missions before the shutdown, but then we had to switch to virtual platforms. And also after that, completed 25 international and domestic trade missions, delegation visits, and industry events with a focus on Canada and Europe. Our research department produced industry cluster story maps. By ramping up our virtual and digital storytelling, we took our business case directly to key decision makers amid the pandemic. Our 7 interactive story maps offer a deep dive into our key industries, from financial services to smart manufacturing to mobility. They allow users to analyze things such as available talent and capabilities of companies that are already here, and I'd highly recommend you take a look. Our real-time research was sent digitally this year. At the beginning of 2020, our research department, along with our business development department, estimated that we'd do about 50 research requests for business proposals, RFIs, for customers that were looking at our area. In fact, we tripled that and did over 150 to provide interested companies with the latest data on workforce, business climate, and other site location indicators. Tripling your workload in 1 year is probably nothing that was envisioned last January, but not only did our team do that, they did it in a best-of-class manner. We looked at GIS maps and created over 90 map applications in the past year, put them online, which helps our customer navigate everything from transit routes, utility locations, to demographics and educational attainment. Once again, bringing information to our customers that they need to make decisions. When we say ever forward, we mean never stop working toward the ultimate goal of creating a more prosperous region and attracting jobs and investment here. The deals that our team played a direct role in this year validate the continued interest in the region. As I mentioned, it's a team sport. We work very collaboratively with the MEDC as well as our local partners to have the correct ecosystem in bringing our deals to success. We have a deep, diverse, and high-tech talent pool that is really what has attracted so many of these successes in the past year. Our signature project wins in 2020 demonstrate that, and I'd like to share a few of those with you. First, I'd like to talk to you about FCR. They're an Oregon-based business solutions and call center company, which was looking for how can they move to a work remotely situation as they're expanding. They also recognize, amid the social justice movement, that they wanted to be a more diverse and inclusive company. So we provided them with workforce and wage data. We also partnered with the cities of Romulus and Southfield, Wayne County, and the Southeast Michigan Community Alliance so that they could hire talent from throughout the region. Based on the overwhelming response to the job postings, FCR skipped the pilot stage and has announced this month that they've hired more than 300 employees as part of its first expansion into Michigan, right here in the Detroit region. Another project I'd like to talk to you about is ClearCover. ClearCover is a relatively new company headquartered in Chicago that is disrupting the insurance high-tech industry. We met with them during our Chicago trade mission in February, one of our last opportunities to be out in the world meeting with our customer. This rapidly growing company wanted a new customer operations center and a diverse workforce that looked like the customers they serve. They did a national search where they evaluated available talent, the diversity of the talent, and the real estate market. We work with our partners at the MEDC and the DEGC after they identified Detroit as their location of choice. We brought them to Detroit in March for a market visit, one of our last market visits before shutdown. We included meetings and testimonials from the mayor, Bedrock, and Rock Ventures. As Jerry noted in his remarks, we need you all to be ambassadors to help us close deals. And these three, the mayor, Bedrock, and Rock Ventures, helped us put the sell over the top. ClearCover has selected Detroit and plans to bring in over 300 jobs to the city, and they're already hiring. Kroger's is a name that is familiar to all of us, and we've seen certainly during the past year enormous growth in logistics centers that need to be closer to customers. They wanted a facility to create an e-commerce marketplace to supply goods to Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. Thanks to our work, they're now planning on constructing a high-tech 135,000 square foot customer fulfillment center on a 22-acre site in Romulus near both Detroit Metro and Willow Run airports, and will create 250 jobs. While proximity to the airport and the freeways were attractive, being close to the other states in the three-state area they wanted to we also had to answer the talent question for Kroger, as the facility required highly skilled logistics professionals and robotics engineers. Location is important, but in this case, it was not as important as talent. So not having the talent pool would have blocked this deal. We supported Wayne County and Aerotropolis with research on talent, providing a workforce availability report, which allowed Kroger's to feel comfortable that they would hire the talent and build out for that location, which is now under construction. Lordstown Motors is the last win I'd like to talk about. Lordstown is an Ohio-based leader in electric light-duty trucks and is developing an all-electric pickup truck called the Lordstown Endurance. Founded over a year ago, Lordstown debuted the Endurance at its headquarters over the summer and has already received more than 50,000 pre-orders for this vehicle. They needed to establish an automotive R&D center that would consist of offices, space for vehicle inspection and benchmarking, and labs for testing, validation, and prototyping. This project is expected to generate a total private investment of $3.6 million while producing 141 jobs. The company decided to locate their R&D headquarters in Farmington Hills as part of its long-term vision for establishing an electric vehicle epicenter in the Midwest. But most importantly, it really reflected how OEMs who don't currently have a significant footprint in the region understand that they need to be here to innovate in electrification and next-gen mobility. We were that location. So the hard work in the past year has paid off in ways that we honestly did not expect. When you're a 2-year-old program and you're really in the startup phase, you don't expect that your work is going to be recognized with awards. But in fact, in the past year, the Detroit Regional Partnership won 2 awards, 2 Excellence in Economic Development Awards during the International Economic Development Council's annual conference. Our awards for our Pathway Jobs Initiative and our Red Talent Cluster, which is Research, Engineering, and Design. Both programs were recognized for attracting more accessible jobs to raise residents out of poverty and helping companies identify how our talented workforce applies across industry sectors, respectively. This is an important goal in all of our work. Our Pathway Jobs program, our commitment to equity and inclusion, is not a separate pillar. It's integrated into all the work that we do, and that was recognized. Congratulations to the team for those awards. So let's take a quick break to hear from a few of our elected officials again on how well we work together as a region.
We're working together as a region in partnership with our universities, with our local governments, with our nonprofits and our business community to begin to get really serious about offering the kinds of things that will attract the talent of tomorrow.
The region's greatest asset is we have a culture where business and labor and our elected leaders work together to try to compete against a lot of other really good regions in this country.
More people are seeing the viability of this overall region as something for the future. I mean, I think all of the things that are big attributes to this county, period, and this region, you know, the international waterway, you know, a world-class airport, we've got great railroad system, we've got the highway system. I mean, we have lots of things that other areas in the country don't have altogether.
There's no question a healthy Detroit is not only a healthy Michigan, it's a healthy United States. And so with that, I got to make sure people understand that, you know, Detroit isn't just a one location area on the map here in the state of Michigan. The surrounding communities are really what help build upon what's going on with the city of Detroit. And there's so many amenities, so many assets, again, quality of life going along with obviously our work pool and the talent that we have. So we have the ability here to transform and again, move the state as well as the country forward.
Those of you who know me know that I love hearing about regional collaboration. It's what our customer wants to hear, it's what our residents want to hear, and that is something that the Detroit Regional Partnership is focused on every single day. So Ever Forward is not only our theme for today, it's the economic development mantra. You know, disruption has been a buzzword now for over a decade as the rate of change in technological advancement continues to accelerate, and that's true in every industry. It's true with our daily lives. I'm sure we never expected we'd be an expert on Zoom and Teams a year ago, like we all are now. But the theme of Ever Forward refers to the Detroit Regional Partnership's ability to transition seamlessly to a new way of doing things due to the pandemic, but it also applies directly to what is required to be successful economic developers. The Detroit Regional Partnership focuses on 7 key industry sectors as the clay to our marketing efforts, and each industry is experiencing its own disruption, which creates unique needs and challenges. So now that we've built the Detroit Regional Partnership into what it needs to be, we need to be moving ever forward in refining what we do. That means in how we tell our story and on what platforms, what research we pull, the narrative we place around it, and how we engage our investors. Best in class requires constant evolution and refinement, and that's what you can expect from the Detroit Regional Partnership team. So let's be clear. We will be back on planes someday, taking our story across the country and world as soon as it is safe and efficient to do so. Economic development is a team sport, and it requires in-person engagement to close deals. There's no substitute for direct marketing. Those of us who've been road warriors for years do it because we love to do it, and that will carry on soon. But as we've experienced here, there are some lessons drawn from the crisis that are going to allow the Detroit Regional Partnership to improve what we do and be more nimble. The digital and virtual practices we employed over the past 12 months helped us effectively get directly to key decision makers in the C-suite more quickly than in the past. When you think about showing the experience of buildings, sites, and the community in the Detroit region, we can get to those decision makers more quickly now than ever before. The decision-making process has been expedited, and that's going to continue to some extent. There's a greater overall comfort when completing some due diligence activities online now. In the past, these same activities would have required another round of in-person visits. So we'll fly again, we'll go to see our customer, we'll go to close deals domestically and around the world. But we try to learn from every way in portraying our region and providing information so that we can win more projects overall. One of the ways we're doing this is to redesign our website to better showcase the region. We put a website together when we started because to this day, 85% of our customer starts at the website before they give us a call. So we knew our initial website was an important component of how we tell our story, but we needed to upgrade to reorganize our content to better serve our core audience and to provide new functionality for those who cannot or will not travel to the region right now. We needed something more dynamic that better fused our new marketing messages with easily accessible research and resources. We wanted a platform to share the positive untold stories that will help change perceptions and also help visitors easily understand our value proposition as an organization. So what you're seeing on screen right now is a little sneak peek at the upcoming website redesign. In the next week or so, you'll receive a link to view our new website for the Detroit Regional Partnership when it launches. But we're excited to show you how you can access even more information and stories about our region. One of our key audiences are site selectors. These are the professional consultants who large companies hire to site large projects. We knew it was an important target for us, and we've implemented in the past year some really strategic efforts to try to get our story in front of site consultants more often and to get them to visit us and to bring us deals more often. We've created a newsletter called Here's the Deal that just focuses on deals that are happening here and key pieces of real estate, two important things that site consultants have told us they want to know about our region. We've created a site selector council and had our first group meeting, which Jerry was able to join with us to listen to what site selectors think about our region and our state. We're going to have individual outreach to the site consultants. All of them are assigned to staff, so we communicate with them on a regular basis, but it's very important that we listen to them and then execute on what they tell us to make improvements to our efforts. We're also just about to launch a concierge program, which will allow site consultants who are visiting us to ensure that their trips are productive and enjoyable. We'll cater to their needs when it comes to recommendations on where to stay, where to go, useful information related to transit, what you need to know when you're in town, and hopefully offer them an opportunity to sit down with us, even if it's over a cup of tea or a lunch while they're in town, so we can make that more direct connection with them. One of the things you asked us to do when we got started is not just to celebrate our successes, which truly we love doing, and we've had many to celebrate, but it was to identify what are some of the roadblocks occurring that we need to work on to improve so we can win more deals. One of the things we identified early on, as you may know, is that in business attraction and expansion, inventory is everything. And it was becoming a significant roadblock to development with limited inventory of appropriate industrial real estate. If you look at the chart today, industrial vacancy rates are at about a 3.2% vacancy across the Detroit region and fall closer to 1% in many in-demand submarkets. I'm sure many of you remember 10 or 15 years ago when that number was in the double digits. So I guess this is a good problem to have. We don't have 15%, 20%, 30% vacancy rates in some of our markets. But the fact is, when you're in economic development, you never want to tell a customer, no, we don't have a building that suits your needs. So what we decided to do, and what we're here to announce today, is a new program that will help to advance industrial properties to market in a more timely fashion. Our VIP by DRP program is underway. It's for verified industrial properties. And what we've decided to do is help businesses to choose a location here by doing some initial due diligence before they look at property. The VIP program will score vacant industrial sites in the Detroit region on a 1 to 5 scale with outside scorers, indicating a site's readiness for future industrial development. The goal is to arm potential users with verified information about the known conditions of vacant industrial site and provide access to information that will help them more quickly assess the feasibility of a site. The Detroit Regional Partnership will help market the program and sites to end users and developers to drive more industrial development across the region. So while we can't go out and build many new 100,000 square foot buildings with 32-foot ceilings, we can inform the market of which sites would provide them the quickest path to do just that. In conclusion, I just want to tell you that we're feeling pretty good about business attraction over the next year. Our pipeline that was continually built last year is strong. We continue to look for new ways to expand that pipeline for more opportunities for all of our communities and more job options for all of our residents in this region. We really did not have a slowdown of interest from international and domestic companies and site selectors in the Detroit region over the past year. We tried our very best in every way to maintain and build those relationships, because that's what this business is all about. While there undoubtedly would have been more deals closed in 2020 without the pandemic, there are many in the pipeline that, as we bring them to close with our partners in the local communities, will bring more jobs and investment to this region. I think we're entering a year where we need to accelerate economic growth and recovery more than ever. That's good news and something to celebrate. So right now, I want to share one final video from some of our elected officials on how we are succeeding together as a region. When I return, I will be joined by Jerry Anderson for a quick Q&A session. And please start submitting any questions you have in the chat right now.
Think about what we have here collectively in this region. We have a lot to offer. People want to see us survive. People want to see us exceed and excel. We have the ability to do that. We have the talent, and I think it's going to be important for all of us to band together to make sure we get that message out.
I really do think by this summer we're going to start to see businesses reopen and start to get back to normal. And that's going to be a great thing. We're going to come back with resiliency.
As we start to pick ourselves back up and hopefully our businesses can start to expand, I think they'll see a shorter time frame from their movement to this region and their expansion than you might see in other places.
You know, I'd say to any company, and I talk to them all the time, you have a lot of great choices in this country, but you come to the Detroit region and you have access to great universities, beautiful communities in neighborhoods with affordable housing, and a quality of life that is just outstanding.
I think there's a real culture here. I kind of mentioned a little earlier here where there is a strong work ethic that's been here for so long, coming from the auto industry and others. I mean, you have folks willing to work.
We're saying we're going to meet the challenges of tomorrow in the same way that we've met all the challenges in the past. We're going to do this together. We're going to do this with a toughness and a sense of humor that is just ingrained in us. And I really think that we don't take no for an answer, and failure is not an option when you're from Detroit.
Welcome back. I'm joined with Jerry. Jerry, it's good to see you and be on split screen with you. I'm going through some of the questions we have in our chat, and there's a bunch of different ones, but I actually want to start with one that I have for you. You know, you're one of our key leaders in this region. We appreciate your voice and your really thought leadership as we navigate ahead. Tell us what your vision is like for 2021. What do you see happening in our region and in our state? And perhaps what are a couple of things we might be able to do to improve the overall situation of the Detroit region?
Well, you know, 2020, tough year in a lot of ways, although some segments of our economy bounced back with more resilience than we expected at the beginning of the year. But there are others for whom it's been really tough. I think what the mayor said is right. There are a lot of economists out there projecting that by mid-year or so, we're going to see a surge in pent-up economic activity that may surprise us. And I think as a region, we need to be positioned to capitalize on that. And so what I hope we can do through the DRP is continue the work of the past year and position us to take advantage of that surge in activity, not only to help the hardest hit industries in the state, but to build the jobs and the economic activity that we need to continue to help this region thrive. And Maureen, you mentioned the site location consultant effort and that group that you've pulled together. That is a great initiative. They are a group of people who have their roots here in Michigan, but are active all over the world and all over the country, who want to help us. And they're giving us really good direct feedback on not only how we've improved, and they are telling us that we've gotten a lot better, but the things we can do to accomplish what I just said, to get more than our fair share. And so I'm really encouraged by the progress we've made. And I think this can be, I think 2021 can be a really big year for us.
I agree, Jerry. You know, in listening to some of our speakers in our breakout sessions, our elected officials, I was reminded, and I talked to this about the breakout with Gary, you know, maybe the Great Recession gave us a little bit of more experience than the rest of the country has on how to get out of an economic downturn that was very dramatic here. So when people around the country ask me, well, how are things going to go in your region, in your state? I said, well, we had a little rehearsal back in 2009 and 2010, and perhaps that gives us the confidence that we know we have the foundational assets to not only build back up, but to improve on where we were before. While we didn't really want to rehearse back in 2009 and 10 or think of it as a rehearsal, I think it gives us a little inner core strength to move ahead from this time in our economy. So let me go to a question or two here. Let's see, what industry sector is going to attract the most interest from investors in 2021? You know, I will say based on the trends we're seeing in the pipeline that we have, smart manufacturing has been really important because once again, it builds on our foundation, but it also looks forward to what's needed in every sector, including automotive. Logistics has been very strong and most likely will continue to be strong as we learn that we have to move and provide products in a different way. So that's very strong. And when you look at really the next-gen mobility and electric vehicles, you know, we hear about the new companies that locate here. We see the press releases. We celebrate projects like the Lordstown R&D facility. But the work that's being done by all of our existing companies in this space is really remarkable. Whether it's the OEMs, the tier ones, the tier twos, they've embedded this work into their work right now. They don't make big announcements about it. We might not hear about it, but we know because we talk and deal with people in these industries all the time. That work is really being centered here. So one question is, can we elaborate on what a pathway job is and how it increases equity across the region? And Jerry, I just want to punt to you for a minute on this one to talk about why pathway jobs, equity and inclusion, is such a foundation of the work we're doing here at the DRP.
You know, a lot of regions denominate the success of an organization like yours in dollars per job or dollars. We were really clear from day one that this is about the vibrancy of our community. And a vibrant community requires a thriving middle class. And a thriving middle class requires that people have a pathway up through job experiences that allow them to enter that. And if you as an organization target dollars per job, you end up targeting a lot of professional job types. You know, they're important. It's important for us to target those. But it leads you down a road of not giving the right focus to helping people enter a quality job pathway that can lead to that vibrant middle class. And so from day one, we were really clear. This region
So it looks like we may have lost Jerry for a minute, but let me talk a little bit about pathway jobs and what our focus is. We are going to, in the next few weeks, be posting a position in our Talent Solutions program where we will be providing a specific concierge service to companies looking in the region to help them match up to talent that they need. We know there's talent out there. It doesn't go through the usual suspects, I should say, which are still our important partners like workforce development and community colleges. We want to make sure we are uncovering all talent in the region. So more to come on that in this year. It's certainly a top priority for us. I think we have time for about one more question here. So what are some of the unique initiatives that we've implemented that push us ahead of the competition? Jerry alluded to our Site Consultant Council that we have, where we're spending more time listening than talking. You know, when you get a group of site consultants together, you immediately want to tell them all about your region and why it's the best. But we've decided to use this platform to listen. Listen about what are best practices around the country. Listen about what we should do to improve the business climate, the tools that we need to close deals. It's been very impactful, as Jerry said, and we're continuing to take our learnings that we're getting so that we can go and talk to the legislature, go and talk to the governor's office, talk to our local communities about what we can do to win more deals. Like our VIP program for industrial properties, the work that we're learning, the messaging we're learning from the site consultants are going to enable our work going forward. That will put us ahead from our competition for sure. So we're getting close to the end of our program here, and I want to, first of all, thank all of you for being with us. You know, we all, I'm sure, would have preferred to have been sitting somewhere with a great view and a lovely breakfast or a chicken lunch. But this is how we do our work right now, and we're getting pretty good at it. But nothing beats seeing you all in person. If I can make a commitment to you that's not on our official goals for the year, our goal is an in-person event before this year is over because we want to see you and talk to you. But in the meantime, this is how we're going to do our work. Thank you once again to our speakers today. We really, really appreciate your extra time. It wasn't just their appearance today. We did a few rehearsals, but Gary and Lejeune and Wright, terrific work. To the mayor and our county executives, Hackle, Evans, and Coulter, thank you for being with us and sharing some of your insights. And once again, thank you to all of our investors. You are allowing us to be a best-class organization for the Detroit region, which is absolutely what this region deserves. I hope you all stay well, and we look forward to talking with you again in the future. Have a terrific day.